welcome. My name is Billy, and in this video I do have notes because I don't want to get off track, but in this video I'm going to be talking about the Neapolitan Quartet series by Elena Ferrante. This is also kind of a delayed July wrap-up of sorts because these are the only books that I read in July. I originally only planned on reading the first book, which is My Brilliant Friend, but I got to the end and I immediately had to pick up the next book and find out what happened. And so that just became a rabbit hole of reading the third book and then the fourth book. So if you haven't heard of this series before, it follows Lina or Lila and Elena, or Linu as she's also called, and it just follows their life from childhood to adulthood, and it looks at the different stages of their life and how the two characters advance through all the twists and turns that life brings. If you can't tell by now, by the fact that I devoured these books in 1 month, I really enjoyed the stories. I think that the Neapolitan Quartet is a series that someone in their 20s can read and someone in their 60s can read, and they're both going to take something from it. It's an art and a skill to produce like a timeless work, and I really do believe these books are timeless. I think that you can reread these at different stages of your life and pull something different from them each time. The story takes place in Naples, Italy from the 1950s, just after World War II, up into the early 2000s. And along with kind of the interpersonal relationship of the two main characters, you have this kind of backdrop of like societal events, from like political and social unrest to natural disasters to like drug epidemics and like the evolving and changing gender roles as time goes on. In book one, My Brilliant Friend, you follow the girls from like their childhood up until they're like 16 years old. And then in book two, The Story of a New Name, you have the two girls for the first time kind of going on different paths, with one choosing marriage and the other choosing like university and her career. In the third book, Those Who Leave and Those Who Stay, you have both of the women at this point are married, have children, and then one of them kind of makes a questionable decision, and you're seeing kind of the repercussions of this. I tabbed this one so much, as you can see. Like, there were so many moments in this book where I was like, don't do it, don't do it. But like I said, one of them makes some questionable choices, even more so than the questionable choices that one of them makes in this one, if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, in the final book, The Story of the Lost Child, you have the two women raising their children, and you see the children grow up, the two women get older and age, and all that comes with aging. My critique of these, I would say, I think Elena Ferrante succeeds in telling the story of a tumultuous friendship. In childhood, Lina and Linu's friendship, it starts off very competitive, with both of the girls aiming to be like the #1 student in school, and you see this competitiveness continue through adulthood. Both girls are trying to kind of one up the other or keep up with the other, and sometimes I think that they do have kind of an unhealthy friendship. I wouldn't say it's toxic as much as it's, unhealthy is like the best word I can think of for it. Elena, who's like continuously feels inadequate, to Lina, who seems to just effortlessly consume information and just captivate everyone who she encounters, especially her male suitors. At the same time, Elena is sparked by Lina's genius, and she feels that she is better when she consults Lila, especially when it comes to her writing. I think that Lina may come off as manipulative to some people and spiteful, But I don't know, to me, I really felt like she just had this unwavering sense of right and wrong in her, like her personal, like ethics compass in life, and she was just unwavering in her principles. I really think that Lena is a person who is stifled by the times in which she's born. Being born in growing up in the 1950s as a woman and having the limitations that she has, and also being as principled as she is, I think that she, she's just born in the wrong time. And if you can't tell, I really felt for Lena or Lila. That's the names, they get me. In contrast, I do think that Elena is more politically correct. I think she's she is viewed more as like the good girl and not as like mischievous or behaving badly as Lena. But I, like I said, I think she's more politically correct, and I think she's willing to stand up for something to a point, as I think most people, whether they want to admit it or not, are like that. They're willing to stand up for something until it gets too uncomfortable or it requires too much of them. And so I think that Elena definitely is like that, and she is more okay accepting that this is just how something is. Where I think Lila can't. She can't accept that this is just how something is. A few things that really stood out to me while reading. One was the normalcy of domestic violence. I don't know. I was just like, it's the 60s. Like, this is still normal. Like, we had like women with bruises and black eyes and no one says anything. At one point there's like people yelling in the street asking for help, no one comes to help. You had a mother who is in one room while her daughter is in another room being beaten by her husband and does nothing. It's just like this is just what it is. Like, that's just how it is. And I don't know, that was really surprising to me because I didn't realize it was so socially accepted, or maybe it's just like that in the little neighborhood that they live in. Another thing that really stood out to me were like women who were in their 20s and they're talking like they're just so old and like used up, like they're in these relationships with these men who aren't treating them right, and they act like they can't start over, like they're just like too old to start over and nobody will want them. Or I don't know. I just thought that was so strange to me to see like the different women and how they would talk about themselves and just like the behavior that they were just willing to accept. As far as the characters, I really loved the depth of all of the characters. I really admired Enzo and Lila and Pascal, I think that's how you pronounce his name. But I think so many people in the book, they flip-flop or like change how they're treating someone based off of the circumstances or who appears to be on top at a certain moment. I really liked these three characters because they really felt like they were honest in their beliefs, whether it was for good or for bad or whatever consequences they had to endure. At least they felt more consistent in how they reacted to things and to people and to situations. And you know what? Let's not even talk about Nino. We don't talk about Nino. If you know, you know. But in the comments, if you want to talk about Nino, I'm here for it. Anyway, but I think every character is really fleshed out, and this really is a book where I think any character you could pull out and you could write a book just about them and it would be just as intriguing and interesting of a story. And I think that goes to the strength of the writing and character development. Overall, I wanted the ending to be different, but I understand that as the story shows, that things don't always wrap up neatly in life. And so the story doesn't wrap up neatly necessarily. As far as if I had to pick a favorite book, I don't think I could pick a favorite book. I really think it's hard to pick one. I think you have to take all of the books and the complete story as one to get the full picture. But I will say that for each book, I thought that My Brilliant Friend had the best ending. I thought that the second book was the most entertaining. I probably connected most with the third book at this point in my life, as you can see from the tabs. And the fourth book made me think about what my life would look like when I'm older, in 30, 40, 50 years. And, what do I need to do now to have the vision I have for my life then? Because I don't want to end up like some of these characters. And it's not that drastic, but you know what I mean? I feel like this is a series that really makes you think about your life, the decisions you're making, and what the outcomes of those decisions are. While I don't have like the love-hate relationship that Leela and Elena had in these books, I still identified with their experiences with love, self-doubt, and like rocky family dynamics. Elena Ferrante does a great job at showing the roller coaster of like life's journey, that we never stop questioning ourselves. I think when we're younger, we think when we grow up, we'll have all the answers. And then when we grow up, we're like, we don't have all the answers. I think, being in my 30s, I still don't have all the answers. I think we gain a bit more perspective with each passing year, and I think this story really highlights that. That's kind of my thoughts on this series. I would highly recommend it for anyone, especially I think women. I think this would definitely speak to them. After I read the books, I kind of went down this rabbit hole because Elena Ferrante is like a pen name, a pseudonym. Like, we don't know who the real person is. I was watching these videos of people and they were talking about like suspecting like who they thought the real writer behind these could be. And one hypothesis was that Elena Ferrante is actually a man. And all I have to say is, if Elena Ferrante is a man, he is the most in tune man with the female experience. I would be so shocked if it was a man. And the person who some people think it is, he's an author in his own right. And so I would love to read some of his books and kind of see if I can take any parallels and make my own hypothesis. So that's something I'm looking forward to doing in the future. I hope you enjoyed this. I would love to chat with anybody about these books. Like I said, I enjoyed them so much, and I just want to talk about them. So leave me a comment. Let me know if you've read these books. Let me know like what your favorite part was, your most shocking moment that you thought. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.